Hi everybody, Breanne from Pigment here, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial touching base on a couple of requests that I've had in the past for my own personal coloring adventures, and it's how to color rainbow kind of platinum colored hair. I've done quite a few pieces of hairdos. This one that I'm going to be doing today is actually from our new book that's going to be released shortly. It's called Grayscale Hairstyles. I chose this one because it has a lot of variation for me to put color in. It has a little bit of a longer hair type, so I should be able to demonstrate it quite well with this piece, hopefully. So that's what this tutorial is about, coloring and getting a rainbow kind of platinum colored hair. So let's get started. I'm going to color the entire piece. It's going to be a start to finish look, so I'm not just going to focus on the hair, but the hair is the main tutorial. Okay. So we're going to fill our background and get that going. And I'm going to use fade. Now for my background, I'm thinking of possibly doing a sky. So I'm going to use blue, and there's many ways that you can use fade that I've touched base on before. You can drag it through, or you can just tap and it'll go. But I'm going to drag it through from my first color. And then down here, I'm just going to make sure that it's on freehand mode. Okay. It's going to be a sky, I believe. Then I'm going to go to my airbrush tool. I kind of like the way that line went. Sometimes I play with color a lot, but overall I like the way that it's looking right now, so I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to put kind of a little bit of pink in there, a little bit of orange maybe. Get this blue working through a little bit more. You just want a little bit of those variations of colors for your sky in the background. I do want it to be darker towards the base because it's almost going to be kind of like a sunset, I guess you would say, or a sunrise, whatever way you want to look at it. And I get some really almost red sunrises lately. They almost glow, which reminds me, it's giving me an idea here. I'm going to actually go to my neon palette. There's just some really bright, brilliant colors in here, and I'm blending and laying them down. This is a really nice red. And it's just working your colors kind of back and forth a little bit, blending, getting them where you want them. It's a little bit darker than I wanted. And I had both my opacities all the way up, but I'm just pressing very lightly. I want the colors in, but I don't want them to be too crazy. I usually use watercolor for this, but I'm just kind of winging it with airbrush. I'm going to just tone down the color a bit in some areas. Got a little bit of that darker at the bottom. You could even, if you wanted to, You could even make this water if you wanted to. I'm not going to today. I don't want the background to be the main focus of this tutorial, so I'm just gonna get these colors in place here and then move on. I'm just kind of blending them out a little bit here. I just want it to be a faint kind of color. This red I'm really liking though. It's reminding me of sunset or sunrise, sorry, that happened the other day at our place, and it was just so beautiful. The sky was just glowing. So the main focus is going to be getting kind of the red in there. Maybe I'll do water. Shouldn't take me that long now that I'm thinking about it. I'm just kind of trying to get my watercolor down if I am going to do water. Just going to lighten it up. The only reason I'm actually going for the water look is because that's where I seen the sunset was on the water. I live on the water, so just kind of made me feel like maybe I should. Last minute choices, eh? So this water, I'm just using the airbrush tool for all these features. I'm not going super crazy with them. I just want to get this like nice kind of color variation going in the background. And I'm just working it back and forth until I get the look that I want. It's going to be a very calm water day. So the water is going to be very still. We can put a little bit of yellow in there, a little bit of red reflecting onto it. Even put orange around the base. It's so fun playing with color. I mean, there's so much that you could do if you just try new things. So I'm just adding a little bit of darkness to the sky because sky is usually a bit kind of darker in some spots in the mornings. So it's going to be a sunrise, obviously. Now I'm pressing a bit harder, really getting that beautiful red color in there. Really just trying to make the sky have variation of angles and light. This is kind of a little bit of a freehand, I guess I'm doing right now for the background. The background is looking pretty smashing, actually. Okay, I'm not gonna do any clouds or anything like that, but there is one thing that I might do and add a little bit of glow around her. Like the sun is kind of where she's looking almost. Just gotta get it right. Still using the airbrush. I'm doing my background first because this is going to be freehand work here. So I want my background out of the way so I don't have to worry about it after. If I want to do final little touch-ups, that's fine, but I don't have to worry about coloring in and around the piece, which is what I don't want to have to worry about after. I'm just mixing colors till I'm satisfied. And I'm using the neon palette for this. I know we have a sunset palette and a couple other ones that I've done them with that too, but I always go back to my neon for sunset. I just find you get the nicest color variations and it just always kind of ends up illuminating. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it for now. I got my colors back there, good enough. Now let's move on and start coloring in the piece. So I'm going to gonna actually do the skin. The hair's gonna be last because I'm gonna be overlapping on the skin and the clothes when I color it in. So you kind of have to think about when you're doing grayscale, like layering your colors and whatnot. So I'm just gonna do my base skin tone. I'm gonna use a little bit of a darker one. Doesn't really look that dark, but I'm gonna be putting layers on it. I'm still using the airbrush tool. Actually, I'm gonna say that a good portion of this tutorial is going to be airbrush. When I color grayscale or I do anything with fine detail or highlighting or anything like that, it mostly 100% of the time will end up being airbrush, unless I'm trying to add details to clothes, which I might do with her dress. Then I might use something else for texture. But most of this work today is going to be airbrush. And I'm going to want to get some color to that skin. So I'm going to go up here and just going to grab this. A little bit kind of almost like a tan color. I'm just mixing. I always have kind of my base color and then I add depths and shades to the rest. Or to the, yeah, to the rest. So to the upper part. So you have your base color and then you kind of add in colors. I'm using this Vapor color. I really like it. I actually mixed these two together. There's this kind of color from Vapor and this color from Candy Store. And I change up the opacities, or not the opacities. Yeah, the opacity may be on the color scale, sorry. And I use them a lot, believe it or not, to add color to my skin. Like right now it's looking very reddy, kind of whatever. It's not going to look like that in a minute though. And then I can put it on the lower one and just kind of add a nice kind of like highlighting look to the shoulder. I just went out of the lines here a bit over here. I'm just going to fix that. Not that it's a huge deal. So I'm highlighting the shoulders now and I'm going on the lighter end of the spectrum of this Candy Store color that I like to use. I don't know, I just discovered them one day and I made a piece and then I go back to them now once in a while because I just really like the way it turned out. And then I'm just going to shade with the black to make this shading a little bit deeper. So I shaded with the brown. Now I'm just going to go over it with the black near the tips of the hair and near the corner underneath here of the shirt or blouse, just to get in a little bit of a deeper shade. And then I'm just going to blend it out gently so it's not too dark. I color match a lot to blend the colors that, because I put so many colors down that if you try to just use that color starkly by going back to your recently used colors, it won't come out right. So by going to because you've blended so many colors together, right? So if you go to the color that you're trying to blend, like I'm trying to blend this dark area with this lighter area. So if you just color match where you're going to blend and then just lightly kind of move it to the area, you get a much more natural looking blend. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of white just for the top shoulder part, maybe on the sides. And then that's pretty much good for that. Now for the shirt, I was thinking about this and I think I'm going to do like a darker, I was going to do black, but it's going to be too hard to see the hair if I do black. So I'm going to use like a dark raspberry color. And I'm just going to freehand in my own lines so the shirt goes all the way through the picture. And if you're doing lines and you find you're having trouble, just zoom in and make sure that you're working at an angle that is comfortable to make your strokes. Everyone has different angles that are more comfortable to them. That's why I zoom in and rotate my picture so much. You don't have to worry about around. You just want to make sure that when you're close to your lines that you're not going into the skin or into the sky. I know some people think that freehand work is time consuming, which it is, but if you think of conventional coloring, you have to do everything that way, traditional coloring. And I think by using freehand mode and doing it once in a while and really challenging yourself to color things all the way through by doing grayscales, it really improved my skills as a colorist. And it makes you decide and gives you precision, right? It gives you precision tools, and it really hones your skills. So every once in a while, it is nice to do a grayscale and test yourself and see where you're at skill set wise, see what you want to improve on, and it's just really good stuff. Really good stuff to use if you are looking to improve. Filling is great too. I use fill a lot, but by really challenging yourself to fill things in on your own, you're going to see that you're going to start to improve on your skills. You're going to see your coloring and your art differently. And it gives you time to think about your piece too. It gives you time to have ideas. A lot of my ideas come when I'm doing stuff like this, just feeling that I'm thinking, okay, oh, how am I going to shade this blouse? Or what colors do I want to have incorporated in it? Can I do spots on it? Or just really a lot of different ideas will come to you. So I'm just finishing filling it in. I want to have a little bit of a contrasting darker color because the sky is so bright. And then if you missed any spots or you notice any areas are lighter, you can always widen up that brush size. Hold on, I just want to actually color the lines too. So you can widen up the brush size, not too much because the higher you go, it'll spread outside. But if you want to just kind of deepen it up, make sure you didn't miss anything. Give it a good run through. Okay. Now, I'm going to darken this up. And I'm going to add a little bit of shading to this top. A little bit of shading, just to kind of show that it's a loose, off the shoulder type top. In these areas here, it's usually going to be darker because it's shaded, because it's in a shaded area. It's kind of like the ripple. So I'm just gonna give that a little bit of depth there. Okay, so we got that darker going along these creases here, giving them a little bit of shading. So it gives the illusion of a more defined crease in the top. And again, I'm not going to be using a whole lot of tools. It's going to be mostly airbrush. And then I'm also going to highlight the blouse in areas with the same color. I'm using all the same color. I just used it at one end of the spectrum to the other. So I kind of filled it in with about this color and I shaded with about this color. And now I'm back to the middle ground. And I'm adding in just kind of random highlights. And I'm gonna add some darkness to shade the shirt. You just want to get those defined ripples. Then it looks natural. It looks like a flowy top. But you don't want them to be too bold because then it's just going to look fake. See, that's too much. The one on top is okay. Almost looks like she's on tropical vacation watching the sunrise, which is not a bad thing. Who knows when we'll get to do that again. So I'm just kind of working the colors back and forth till I kind of get the look I'm going for. Okay, now let's get to the reason why we're having this tutorial, and let's color in this hair. Now, I'm already getting the idea to do almost a blue base for the hair. So you're gonna, blue or purple, I'm thinking. I think I'm gonna do blue. This blue, I might actually use the same blue that's bleeding over here. So you're gonna pick color, and I just randomly decided to use I really like this color though too. Yeah, maybe I'll use this one. I like how it's a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to start filling in this hair, and you're just going to get what I call a layer in. I do hair when I color it in layers, so that's how I get a rainbow effect to it at the end. So I'm going to color in this hair. I'm not worried about strands. I just want to get this base color in. This is going to be, you might not see actually a lot of this color by the time it's over. It'll just be in you'll see it, but it's not gonna, you're not gonna see it like this. She kind of has her hair up in like this half messy bun. And just follow along where the hair is and just kind of, don't worry if it's not perfect, but try to keep it neat as much as possible. If it comes out a little bit, that's fine. You can use a technical pen to fill and marker and other things as well. I just like the softness of airbrush. I like the way it seamlessly blends. It's not a stark straight line. It's a softer line. So that's why I use it to fill. But I mean, you can try other things. There's definitely other things that would 100% work. Just wanted to step back and look at it. I actually really like this color. It's almost like a purplish blue. And this was one of the colors that just bled into my hair from me filling my background. And I do that a lot, actually. I've used colors more than once, I will say, that have just been there because of me making a background. And I go, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I just color match and use it to make my picture, my inner part of my picture. So, yeah. I'm just not worried too much about the ends here. I know they're looking a bit chunky, but that's okay because I'm going to be going over this with other colors. So I just kind of want to get it filled here. I'll add a couple strands just to keep it. I'm gonna lower my brush size a bit. I have it at 1. I think maybe 2 is good. And then you're just gonna tapered strokes. And just to kind of start giving the hair shape, since it is the base color. So I filled it, and then now I'll go back and give it a little bit of shape. I'm not going to go like I said, crazy with it because I am going to be layering other colors on top, but I do want my hair to have shape. Now, it gets tricky when making the lines because sometimes they'll look crinkly, and it looks okay once it's all mixed together. But when you first start doing it, you'll be like, ooh, I don't like that. So if you want to get a little bit straighter lines, zoom in. When you zoom in, it makes a world of difference. I'm just trying to add some loose strands around the hair so it looks natural. I'm not going to do a lot, just a little bit. Okay, so I know that actually kind of took a while to fill the hair, but you want to take your time when filling the hair because you want it to look nice. You want it to look good. So a step that I do sometimes in between is a little bit of shading. So if you want to get around your roots, I'm going to use the same color. You don't have to do shading at this point, but I like to because I like to get my roots defined. And I like to get the darker areas defined a bit at this point, just so when I'm making my strokes, I can keep the overall idea of where I'm going with my hair. And I can see how it's going to look with the shading. The shading will get covered a bit. It will be blended a bit. But I just want to get it in there. So I'm just shading with the darker end of the spectrum of the color that I filled with. And again, I'm still on airbrush mode. I think I've pretty much almost done this whole picture in airbrush as of this far. So you just want to get your shading in these creased areas. There's hints to where there's shading. You'll see that there'll be more hair strands, clumps. So go to those clumps and add your depth. Get your shading in there. And it already brings your hair alive without even adding anything else. Because hair color, like anything, is dimensional. You don't just look at someone's hair and see just brown. You'll see it's shiny in areas, darker in others. So you got to think of that when you're coloring. And I'm hitting the eraser button again. Okay, so I think that's good for the shading. Now I'm going to grab a complementing type hair. So this might end up being like a rainbow type blue hair. I'm going to try and get some pink in there too. So this is almost like a pewter purple. So I'm thinking maybe put some pink in there and another type of blue, maybe this light blue. Okay, so you're going to want to kind of just start doing strokes. I'm going to start with I think that blue's maybe a little bit too light to start. I like to go with my darker colors first and then build up to the lighter layers up top. Okay, so here's a nice blue. Let's use this blue. And we're just going to do strokes. I am on my airbrush. I'm on, what percentage here? I'm on 2%. I'm pressing lightly, and then my opacity is all the way up, and I'm doing strokes. It's tedious, but you get such a nice look after. It's just so worth it. It's worth taking the time to do it. I promise you. And you don't want to press hard because you don't want this big blue thing, even though you can't really tell. Like I'm using a color that almost blends really well with the base color that I picked to start. And then you can do as many layers on top as you want of that after that. And there's a really awesome way to add a platinum in here, which I think I'm going to do too, which I kind of mentioned in the beginning. But we're just going to see how this goes. We're just going to take it by stroke and see what develops here. I'm not a big planner when it comes to coloring, believe it or not. I like to go with my creativity as I color, because lots of times, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then I get into the piece and I'm thinking, no, like I really actually think this would look better, and then I just don't end up following it anyway. So you want to follow the direction that the hair is going. So don't go against the direction. Whatever this piece of hair here is going down, you don't have to do too many strokes in the really shaded areas. And then this one's kind of curved, so it's okay if it's not perfect, it's fine. Just make sure that you're following the angles. When I say it's okay if it's not perfect, I just mean the strands. Each strand doesn't have to be perfectly straight and perfectly, you know, it's meant to be a little bit disheveled, as hair kind of has strands poking out everywhere, right? Just don't want too much of it in my shaded areas. Not yet, anyway. And you're just going to go through all the hair like this. Just following the angles and adding your strokes. And don't go too far into shaded areas. You can add strokes in shaded areas, just light ones. It'll offset your hair if you do too much. That's why I like doing my shaded areas first, to kind of show me where I'm going to have them. So when I'm doing my strokes, I can kind of gear it for setting it up for the end result, I should say. And use your judgment. Like, this is a bit shaded, but I'm adding strokes. It's just, you gotta kind of keep an eye on what you're doing. Step back, look at your piece, see how it's looking, and just keep on going. You will probably start getting a tired arm. At some point, you can always take a break. Okay, so we're getting our layers and it's looking pretty good already. I just gotta finish it up here. I'm not quite done with this color yet. I also have to do the bun. Can't forget about the bun. So it is a little bit of a long process. And if you notice when you do shade in the darker areas, your colors are going to stand out. So just make sure that you are keeping them most straight where they're going to be most noticeable. See right here, you can really see the blue. Okay, so there is the blue color. It's really coming together. You can see the shaded areas. You can see the nice blue on top. It's looking pretty good. So I'm probably going to come back to blue for a lighter blue later. I might actually even use one of the neon colors. But for right now, I really like this purpley pink type color, but I'm going to just offset the opacity a bit, like turn it down, just because I don't want it to be crazy intrusive. And this is a point where I'm actually going to bring up my strand size too to about a 3. And I'm not putting as many strands. I'm keeping them a little bit further apart. And I'm just doing random ones in the direction of the hair again. I'm not doing as many as I did with the blue. The blue was on a smaller brush size. And I covered the whole hair with very small strokes. Now I'm using bigger strokes with the pink. And just kind of getting it in there. So this rainbow hair is most likely going to consist of blues, and I'm pressing harder now. I'm getting the odd deep pink strand that's going to stand out, and then you start seeing our rainbow hair come together. No, you don't want lots of thick ones though, just the odd thick one, and you just press down a little bit harder for it, and then it comes out. And then you see these beautiful streaks of pink coming through your hair. So rainbow hair can be very many different colors. You can do blues and pinks. You can do oranges and yellows together. You can make all different kinds of color combos to have this beautiful looking rainbow hair. And I love coloring hair. I've done quite a few hair pieces, and I just really, really enjoy making a beautiful hair color. It truly is one of my favorite things to color, and I never would have thought that in the beginning, like hair. Where's the face? I like coloring because I love coloring portraits. And then I got started on the hair thing, and I just love it. And I hope you will too. So you see how we're getting like a nice pink texture in the bun? You almost have more pink in the bun, which is kind of cool because if you put those layers down, they'd probably be more pink in the hair, right? Depending on how you get your stylist to do your hair, that is. I'm gonna actually just get some pink strands happening coming out there. Cool. I am digging it. So so far we've done 4 layers. So we did the base. No, wait. We did the base, we did the shading, a little bit of shading, and then we did the light blue and the pink for the strands. Now I gotta think about what I want to do for another layer. I'm not done yet. Okay. let's go to my neon friend here. I just want to see this color. Yep, that's going to be the color. So I'm going to grab this bluey green turquoise, and I'm actually going to, I'm going to leave it on a small size. I'll leave it on 1, but I'm actually going to press a little bit harder, and I'm going to leave them far enough apart. That's the trick, when you're layering colors. You don't want to cover up your old colors by layering the exact same way you did with the last one. You want to switch it up, and I just want to fix this. You want to switch it up and do a different size, layering differently, going kind of around what you've already done, and letting all the other colors shine through. So you see how it's like really starting to shine now with these colors? And all tapered strokes. You start off hard and then you let go at the end. Start off hard, let go. Well, like not hard, like pressing hard. I just mean you start off with a good press and then you let go at the end. Tapered strokes. And look at how nice this hair is looking. It's looking dimensional. It's looking colorful. And then towards the end, I'm not going to put as much. It's going to be in there. Kind of want to get maybe some in the ends. Get a more defined end to the hair. Okay, now I'm going to go back up to the bun. It does take a while, but I mean, it looks so nice when you're done. I got so many compliments on all these different hair colorings I did. And when I was talking about you can do orange and yellows, I've done all those colors, and it's such a beautiful feeling when you're done and you look back at what you've colored and you're like, wow. And I didn't know it was going to be so well received because but it was, and it was a really nice feeling. So I'm doing this as I've been meaning to for a while, and I really hope that everyone can have fun with it and make the rainbow hair that they want to make. So there, we got that going on. Now I might add, I just want to try something here. No, that pink's too dark. I want a nice, almost like a pastel. There we go. Perfect. So now I'm going to do 2 more layers. Actually, maybe 3. I'm going to do one with this light pink. And I'm going to try out this purple and see if I like it. And then I'm probably going to do my platinum color on top and put some platinum strands through here. So let's start with this light pink. I'm actually going to bring this up again. But I'm not going to press as hard. See, I'm kind of doing little strands, then highlights. Little strands, then highlights. Highlights are really important to making your hair have a finished appearance, to shine. It almost looks like unicorn hair. In a good way. Not that there's a bad way to have unicorn hair, but it just is reminding me of that right now. So we're getting this lighter pink in here, and it's adding this really cool dimensional feel right now. I'm just kind of putting it in a little bit more at the ends. Just because that's what I want to do. No particular reason. Other than I like the way that this light pink is bringing out the hair. And the color selection is really important to getting the overall look that you want to achieve. So I'm kind of randomly doing it, but I've colored hair quite a few times now, so I kind of already have an idea in my head what it's going to look like when it's done. But when you're doing it, just try to think of a palette like I did. Like if you're going to do blues, maybe blues and pinks and purples. For purple, if you're going to do base, then maybe pinks and blues on top. Or you could do purple and orange. Like there's a lot of different things that you can do. Just try to have a plan of what you want to achieve so you get the look that you're going for, so you're not disappointed. Okay, so now let's do the bun again. It takes work, but I mean, isn't it worth it? I think it is. I get such satisfaction when I complete something and it turned out somewhat how I intended. Such a great feeling. And I get times where it doesn't too. I mean, there's ups and downs, but I think once you learn something, you can apply it just about any time you go to color, and most of the time it's going to turn out for you. So that looks pretty fantastic. It's going exactly how I wanted it to. I'm going to just try this purple. I don't necessarily think no, you know what? I really don't need it. It's almost like the color's already in the hair from all the layering. So I'm going to skip the purple. Now I'm going to use my secret weapon, my secret pigment weapon. And I'm going to go up here. Oh, where are you? Oh, there you are. My flower basket. This cream. Now you could probably make it yourself in one of your palettes. I just go to it because I know it works. I've used it before. This is going to be the last layer, and then I'm going to do some last minute just touch up highlighting, and then that's going to be the hair. So this is where you come to get your platinum look in your hair. If you want to have like a mixed platinum hair. Now this color, you're going to distribute a bit generous. And together, and strands overlapping, and I just want to make sure that it's coming out the way I intended. Yeah, so you're going to get this platinum looking hair, like almost this girl had platinum hair and then added all these rainbow colors to it. And why do you do it last? Because you get all those colors that you put in the hair prior. Just going to fix this little mistake here by color matching. Gone. Okay. Now I'm going to start kind of doing some wavy textures with it. Wait a sec here. I need to find a comfortable angle where I'm getting the strands that I want properly placed. So yeah, you see how you're getting like that platinum color running through the hair? I mean, you could have left it all just colors too, but I really like the way it stands out with this cream. I'll call it my secret weapon. My secret coloring weapon. Follow the direction of the hair. So this is probably the color that I'm most generously adding layering wise. You're going to see all the colors that we've done come through, and then this beautiful platinum color kind of is almost like the setting for it. The setting for all these beautiful colors. I'm going to actually probably go back in and just touch up some of the shading spots a little bit. Okay, and last but not least, we got to do the bun again. shine that I don't want here, so I'm just gonna go over it with my past colors and try to blend it. Can't really fix it any other way because there's lines everywhere. It's pretty easily fixable though. And then this is where we do our touch-up. So we look at our hair and we decide if we've done it justice, if we need to add more details in any way. Okay. Evaluating. I'm actually going to go grab this blue, deepen it up, and I'm just going to go over and just kind of kiss in some more shading here. And then over here, I'm actually going to just add a little bit of layering color. And just because I find there's a little bit too much shading, just like a big dark spot for no apparent reason. So just a little bit extra shading, not much. I'm not going crazy with it. I'm just touching it up, especially at the root line here. Okay, and then if you want, you can always do one last step for the highlighting, which would be, you can either use the white or go back to the cream. It's going to turn out the same way with the laser. Bring down the brush size right about there, opacity down for sure, and just kind of go across the angles of the hair. And add some natural looking shine to the hair. I'm just fixing things up now as I see them. With my recently used colors, I'm just going back and touching up any areas I think need touched up. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. So that is how you can achieve rainbow hair. Just gonna add a few more chunky pink spots. Really liked that pink and I lost a bit of it with the highlighting. There you go, rainbow hair. I'm just gonna do a little bit of touching up on my background before I'm completely done, if you don't mind sticking around. So this is where I'm actually gonna use a different tool. Holy geez. It's going to be the laser tool. I'm gonna bring the opacity up. We're gonna go to some different colors here. I think I'm gonna want my good old neon palette. Neon palette is probably my favorite palette, guys. Not even kidding. And I'm actually gonna need my plasma first. I'm gonna try some things, not saying I'm gonna keep it exactly, just trying. So I'm just dragging my plasma, different opacities and brush sizes to try and get this illuminating sun kind of happening in the background. But it's a really fine line to play with because you don't want it to look like it's unnatural, right? You want it to look glowing nicely. So I'm doing lightly and a little bit harder in some spots. And then I'm going to just kind of no, the yellow's too bright. Just going to kind of add some light reflection to the water. With the plasma. Airbrush tool. The water, just going to kind of define that line a little bit more. And then you can go grab the laser. Use this, you could use that color if you want, which I'm just going to keep it on. And just add random, very small dots on the water to give the illusion of kind of flickers of light on the water. And do it around where you did the highlighting for the plasma. And you can make a couple bigger dots too by just bringing your brush size up a bit so it looks a little bit more natural. Then you got shiny water, shiny sky, and then if you wanted to highlight the blouse a bit, you could as well. Bringing the brush size up, opacity down. get a little bit more highlighting on the blouse. And then honestly, I think that's pretty much good. I'm just gonna add a couple little variation, kind of light dots happening. Just got to get them in the right spot, right size. Okay, I think that's fine. Don't want to overwork our picture. Then I'm going to go to my airbrush tool and I'm going to color match this and just fix it really quickly because it's bothering me. You can see that I bled a little bit onto my skin. Not a big deal, but still, if we're going to be picky. Okay, guys. So this has been a little bit of a multi-tutorial. I colored some water. I did a background sunset with a little bit of a glowing effect around the bun. And then there's the beautiful centerpiece for this whole tutorial, which is the layered hair. And I just actually kind of noticed something, if you can bear with me one moment. I did notice that there's a little bobby pin or something up here. So we should color that in. There, purple, or maybe not purple. Nope, not that color either. You know what? It's going to be a pearl. It's going to be white. It's going to be a white pearl on top of her head. Doesn't really make that much of a difference. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for joining me today. This is Breanne from Pigment. I really hope that this tutorial helped you out. Please add any questions or comments or any future tutorials that you would like to see. And we will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.